Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the judge, the attorneys in the Carey trial, and how could I not bring the fact that we had Proctor on the stand. I have an echo. Let me know if you guys hear an echo and I have to restart. Let's see the first video here with Proctor.
These are your words, Trooper Proctor?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead and say them.
Cunt. Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No ass.
And sir, what is it that you were referring to there, or why would you text that?
These were, from all accounts, he didn't do anything wrong. Is talking about the homeowner, Mr. Albert. I had mentioned the compelling evidence against Ms. Reed at this point indicated that Mr. Albert had nothing to do with Mr. O'Keefe's death. The rest of the unprofessional and regrettable comments are something I'm not proud of, and I shouldn't have wrote in a private or any type of setting.
Sir, at some point, if I could turn your attention to page 2540.
So I've never seen somebody disappear from a chair like this guy. I've never seen anybody in my life so humiliated. It's really hard to watch. And we're going to do a whole body language video on Proctor coming next. I'm going to work on the direct examination, the cross-examination, then I'm going to release the video. And now we're going to go over what we have seen from the judge. Is the judge working against the Commonwealth? What do you guys think? I'm sorry, against the defense. What do you guys think? Here are our main players. We got Alan Jackson. Alan Jackson. This is a slide I made for him talking to Proctor. He said, "Excuse me, can you tell me, what did you call my client again? What did you call? Did you call?" And then Proctor's like, "Can we do a spelling? Can we do a spelling game? C U," and they're like, no spelling here, honey. Tell us. Those were your words, so please tell us. And this guy's sweating, and I don't know how to feel, because being human, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, please, like, make it stop. If it was Brian Albert with his arrogant answers, or if it was Brian Higgins with his, I'm above the law attitude, I would have been enjoying more. But watching Proctor just like disappearing in the chair, it's kind of disturbing. But then I have to remember what he says, what he's saying, what he texted, what he's saying about the defendant, which is awful. And then I don't feel bad for him anymore. So Alan Jackson, a beast, amazing job he's doing so far. We got the dream team. Okay, I'm a little biased because I'm totally in love with the defense team. So we got Yannetti, we got Attorney Little, who is fantastic. I've watched some of the pretrial motions, and she is also fantastic. And we got we got the judge, we got Lolly all over the place, and we got another attorney, which I couldn't find a good picture of her, I don't think. So hello, everybody. This is going to be fun. We're going to do a little bit of the pre-trial motion compilation to see what is it that this judge is doing that is making people ask, hey, is she biased? Is she like working for the defense? What's going on? This is the judge. Let me interrupt you. So let me see who is here. We got Michael. Hi, Michael. Let me show this comment. Is it showing? I hope so. Okay. We're all mad here. She's saying, unless the judge is better tomorrow, I have to give her a failing grade. That's right. I mean, that's definitely the impression she gives us. We got Karina. Yay! I made it live. Hi, Karina. Welcome. So glad you made it. I made it this time just so that you guys can watch it as well. I didn't think Lolly was going to be able to pull himself together yesterday. He tried. We're all mad here. I mean, he was sweating bullets and he's thinking the judge is going to just do whatever he wants as usual, right? Objection, Your Honor. And she's like, dude, today you're on your own because this guy is texting all these people these crazy comments and he's gonna go. Like, he's better, answer all these questions because I can't help you today. So here's another slide from the defense. We got the shirt that's going around. Jackson, Miss Little is wearing the Jackson Yannetti Little 2024. We got Jackson ready for the cross tomorrow. And then we got Proctor saying, here comes Jackson. I just eat my pants. KO. Because now, sir, you like to write things to your little friends in the dark of the night, hidden in your little office. Well, guess what? The whole world's going to see now. So we're going to see the prosecution, Lolly, and I have her name. I have to remember her name. I don't mean to be disrespectful. And then we got here on the bottom, the evidence that keeps on giving. And we got little Proctor dancing on top of the evidence, certified by Proctor. The evidence that just keeps appearing and just keeps showing and presenting itself. So this is a little compilation I made for the pretrial and how the judge was acting towards the defense. That was harsh to watch. So let's watch this.
I guess I would start, Your Honor, by saying that in order for evidence to come in, it has to be elicited by a party. It has to be offered by a party. You're being told that the Commonwealth does not intend to elicit this evidence and that the defense does not intend to elicit this evidence. So I guess the question that I would direct to the court is, do you intend to follow up with questions?
I'm not questioning the jury. It's clear that it may be a response, a natural response by a witness.
Sure. So,
Mr. Yannetti,
yes.
So it's clearly you try your case the way you want to try your case, and the Commonwealth decides how they want to do it. But I am not tying the hands of witnesses to natural responses to questions. So I'm taking this under advisement. If you open the door, it comes in.
Well, I completely understand that, Your Honor. I will say that I think probably, I don't want to speak for Mr. Lally, but
So don't speak for Mr. Lally.
But
I'll hear from him in a
I'll speak
minute.
for myself then, if the court will allow me.
You allow me.
So that's all of the defendant's motions in limine, correct, Mr. Yannetti?
Let me just have a moment.
Mr. Jackson, it's all of them, isn't it?
We filed a motion for attorney-conducted panel voir dire.
We're going to talk about impanelment this afternoon.
Just being complete in answer to the court's question. That was one that was not addressed, but that's fine.
All right. Oh, the request just to have panel, your motion was a little bit confusing.
Right.
So you want panel voir dire?
Panel voir dire, correct.
I'm not going to do panel voir dire in this case.
That there's
So you want panel? Well, we're not doing panel, but I'll discuss it at panel. That's what she said 5 seconds ago.
a federal investigation.
Isn't that what this does? If
No,
you mention it,
no. What this does,
explain to me why that's not so.
that's what I'm doing.
Not yet, you haven't. So please explain that.
As the court knows, it's essential that the jury is given the context in which every single statement, whatever the statement might be, is brought to light.
Does that mean, do we say there's an objection to 25, Ms. Little? Just yes or no.
Mr.
All right.
Jackson
So I'm going to hear from Mr. Lally on the motion. I just wanted to know if there was an objection. And given that I have no information at all, I don't know who the third party culprit is, even after reading 4,500 pages. I don't know if it will prejudice or confuse the jury. How am I supposed, so you're prepared to argue all
I'm
this?
prepared to argue it, Judge.
All right, so we will get to that when we get to the Commonwealth's motion.
We are still actually receiving information with regards to the internal affairs investigation as recently as yesterday. So I'm happy to like kind of defer ruling to the court and then address this as it comes up. We'll be in a much better position to rule on this issue once the witness testifies.
All right, so what would be helpful to me, once you know what it is you think you're going to try and introduce, to tell me how that complies with the holdings in both McFarland and Graham.
There are independent reasons why that is admissible outside of McFarland and Graham.
Okay, so I need to know all of that.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So she's so condescending. She's like, let me know what you think you're going to introduce. And then Miss Little's like, excuse me, it's not the only way that I can introduce. And she, obviously the judge agrees because she was wrong. And then Miss Little's like, okay, thanks. She's so condescending and so rude, so rude. She constantly interrupts the defense during these pretrial motions.
5 minutes before Jennifer McCabe is Googling how long to die in the cold, about
Puzzle.
8 minutes before Brian Loughran, the plow driver, first drives by the house and sees nobody at all. And the next morning, Brian Higgins, the first person he spoke to was Brian Albert. After
Right, I'm going to stop you for a minute.
Of course
I
you
think
are.
we need a break, Madam Court Reporter. Do you need a break?
Okay,
Can you go,
Yanetti's
how much
face.
longer do you think you have with this, Mr.
She's
Yannetti?
so pissed.
How many more pages or how long you think?
I've got about, in terms of my recitation of the facts, I've done about a page and a half and I've got 3 left.
Madam Court Reporter, would you like to take a little break? It's hot in here and you've been going nonstop. Okay, let's take a 10-minute break.
For us, we can
So, oh wait, let me see this one.
do that. I have a full argument prepared.
All right, so who is the third party culprit?
We are under no obligation to name any specific third-party culprit.
The motion regarding the DNA, regarding excluding the DNA. Mr. Lally, why should I not allow that motion?
For a couple of reasons, Your Honor. Number one, what I can provide to the court by way of update is that most of the testing with regard to that item is complete.
Dealing with the retrograde extrapolation.
Okay, we don't have it as 17 anywhere.
I thought that was the list that the helpful list that the Commonwealth.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, so she was saying how, oh, Commonwealth, you did a perfect list. It's so organized. It's so helpful. And then when Jackson is arguing, she's like, I don't have that, because that's what she loves to say. I don't have that. I don't know. And then she just interrupts. So Jackson's being a little sarcastic. I thought you had the very helpful list from the Commonwealth. And she's like, oh, wait, this is from my lolly? My lolly.
Our number is 289.
Right. Okay.
We allow it. How long will the demonstration take?
So,
It's the blood draw and the extrapolation.
Yeah, so the motion had both. So that's why, all right. So I guess we don't need to hear. So the part of your motion that concerns the statements made by the defendant, the defense is not objecting to.
And that's allowed in every single courtroom across.
So impeachment's certainly allowed, but do you intend to put on witnesses regarding challenging character evidence?
No, we're not intending to. That's exactly what I was going to summarize by saying the bad character focuses on general character traits, whereas impeachment deals with people who lied or were
and
untruthful. We
Mr.
intend to
Lally,
do the latter.
hold on, Mr. Lally, you're not objecting to impeachment, prior inconsistent statements, things like that.
no, of course
So
not.
you,
That's what their concern is.
anything you wanted to add to this? It looks a little broader than that to me.
So here's another example, right? We're all mad here. She just said she breaks for the clerk, objects for the Commonwealth. She's a jack of it all. Exactly. Like the clerk was not asking for a break, and she does this to the defense when they're like on a flow. They're talking, they're going on with their points, and she's like, wait, madam, would you like a break? And then the madam clerk was like, probably like, no, I'm fine, because she says, well, it's hot in here. You've been going for a while. So why don't we take a break in the middle of Yanetti's argument? Because of course that is very disrespectful, and that would break the flow of anyone trying to speak, right? And then she does the objections for the Commonwealth. Just like now, she's saying is there an objection? It looks broader. Like Lolly say that it looks broader. And then he goes, yes, it does look broader, Your Honor. So, it's like, that doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. And the disrespect and the rudeness is something that I've never seen. At least, be professional. But I did notice that when the trial started, after maybe the first few days, she changed a little bit. Maybe speculation because of how the internet is responding. Because this judge here in the pretrial motions is absolutely unacceptable, the way that she speaks and deals with the defense.
Is a little bit broader than that.
I think this may be something that we wait until.
So let's get the list of the experts. Take a look at the Commonwealth's.
It's essential for the
That was just right now what the list of the experts is, what they have argued this week on Monday. We're gonna go over that too. And then we're all mad here. She says she also made them relabel all the evidence introduced. She has caused delays. Now she's going to limit the time for the defendant's case in chief. Yeah, there's like a lot going on. So during the pretrial motions, they talked about some of the specialists that are going to testify that were involved with the federal case. Therefore, per some rule, the defense is not allowed to go into depth, into details with the experts into what they're going to be testifying to. They're going to have to do a voir dire. They're going to have to come into court, and without the presence of the jury, they're going to be asked questions by both parties, and then the parties are going to agree for them to testify. But then they also, like Warm Ahmed here just said, I watched a part in the pretrial motion where the attorneys were saying, we're going to pre-label everything. All the evidence is going to have pre-labels. And then when we got to the trial, she's like, no, I changed my mind. Now I want the evidence to be relabeled according to the order it's being introduced in the trial, which is causing so much more time. It's much more time consuming for the clerk, for the attorneys, for everybody involved, for the jury. She has a lot of breaks. She has a lot of half days. And then when it comes to the defense trying to argue a motion before they can even speak, she cuts them off. I don't want to waste time here. I don't want to waste the time of the jury. So it's very disparative. The treatment is very different from one party to another. One thing I will say is that when it comes to ruling in the motions, she has not been unfavorable to the defense. So it's my only point, because her treatment is, in my opinion, unacceptable. But when it comes to the actual ruling, the evidence being introduced, she allows the defense to introduce it. Let me just read some of your comments here, guys. It's so good to have everybody here. Coca says, I think there was one day in particular where she got a heads up that someone important was paying attention, but she was back at it the next day. That makes a lot of sense, because I remember very clearly in the beginning of the trial, I was like, wow, she's so rude. She's so rude. And she constantly objects on behalf of the Commonwealth. And then I noticed that she started acting a little bit more proper. But watch her. Just what we are watching right now with the pre-trial, this is just how she is. Now, whatever story there is behind, I don't know. There's a lot of rumors online, but I do try to stay with the information that is in court. So the pre-trial motions and the actual trial right now. So I don't know what her situation is, but she can't really change herself, because that's how she is, especially towards this defense team. Now we have Karina saying, it's ridiculous that a judge drones on about time, yet she's the one who is wasting time, followed closely by good old Lolly. Oh my gosh, absolutely. The amount of time that Lolly wastes in this court asking for stupid things like the score of the basketball game or the music the band was playing, or what if anything and who if anyone, and and the whole breathing of both of them together, it's like, that's the waste. That's the waste of time, okay? Because the defense is like, they're type A personalities. I don't know about Miss Little, but Jackson and Yannetti, they're like ready to go, just like they just had 5 espressos every morning all the time. They're trying to, and what makes me so irritated is that when she cuts them off during the testimony, a lot of times they're talking about, well, most of the times they're talking about the actual case. They're talking about either the crime scene or the body, or they're talking about the case. They're not talking about the basketball game. And she cuts them off. So when we're actually going into interesting information, pertinent information, she just cuts them off. So, people are watching. People are watching. You're no longer in your in your robe of justice by yourself. And that's what I love about these trials being televised, because I do believe it's important that the public is aware of how these professionals behave, and how a lot of them, I'm not making accusations towards her specifically, but abuse their power. We're seeing a lot of abuse of power in this case, specifically by Higgins, by Brian Albert, by Proctor, by Trooper B. I don't know. Because they're just arrogant. Like, they act like they're above the law. They look at something and they say, yeah, it's a mirror video. It's accurate. And then, the defense is asking, it's not accurate. Well, and then they start to parse words. So if it makes the public feel, at least for me, that they are thinking that we're dumb or something, trying to trick us. And with the current amount of information that we have available online today, that's no longer going to be the game in the future. We are watching these people live, how they act, how they don't follow the rules, or how they have disparative treatment. I don't know if that's how you say it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Disparative or disparate treatment, different treatments. And we see it now. So, they're going to have to learn some lessons here. I have a comment here from Sir Greg. Hi, Sir Greg. The judge is a banker. If the Commonwealth loses, Lally has to pay the charge. United States is a corporation. A U.S. citizen is a U.S. business. A person is a business. Prisons are for profit. Bench means bank. All right. Well, that's very sophisticated, your comment. And then we have Coca here saying, now that we've spent 2 months on the prosecution's case in chief, and people still don't have evidence how, or even if we don't know if the victim is dead. We don't have an ME testify or anybody testified to him being dead. And you have to have that. You have to have that. Even if the victim died, let me promise the jury that will be done in 3 weeks. Right. Without considering the defense's case. Then, did I miss? She was so much worse during the first week. Yeah, Amy said, I totally agree. She was so much worse in the first week. Yeah, I think we're going to have some clips of that as well. So let me go back to this clip here so we don't waste a lot of time.
How are you going to do that? How do you propose it? Is somebody from the U.S. Attorney's Office on your witness list to come in and talk about it?
They're in a wedding together, in the wedding party. There's a third photograph.
And when was that? When was that?
2012.
Good morning.
Andrew Kettlewell for Elizabeth Proctor.
Good morning, Mr. Kettlewell.
My brother laid out his case. That is laid out quite clearly in his affidavit.
So this clip, I just clipped this little portion just to make an interesting observation. I didn't know. Did you know? This guy is Alan Jackson's brother, and he at this point was representing Proctor's wife. That was very interesting while I was watching those I don't have a lot of him. It was just interesting. I don't think he's representing her any longer, but this is Alan Jackson's brother.
As well. As to my brother's arguments, eloquent as they may be, they missed the mark. When John O'Keefe was found
he had this set of wounds on his right arm.
Sorry to interrupt again, guys, but I just want to point out what I've observed while I was doing this, and this is why I chose certain clips. Miss Little, I think she's amazing during these pre-trial motions because she takes some of the pictures, like the text messages. Now, in this case, they are talking about what we are going to be talking about this week. The doctor that they were arguing about on Monday has a lot of experience in the emergency in the hospital ER, and she's gonna come in to testify what animal scratches, wounds, bites are consistent with, and the fact that his wounds were consistent with that. And she's probably has seen a lot of car accidents as well. So here's a pre-trial motion where they're talking about the arm. And the way Miss Little holds up the picture and just stares at the judge, kind of like she's very serious. And I thought she did a great job here and in other parts.
We need a short compliance date for the production of these notes and reports so that we can at least attempt to prevent further fabrication of evidence. I'm asking the court to set a compliance date to make sure that we actually get the information that we've requested.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lally?
Your Honor, I'm not quite done.
Oh, you said there were 5.
I was going to have a conclusion if I
Okay.
finish addressing the court. Thank
Sure.
you.
Hold your clerk.
But I still don't have it now.
I have it in my hand, Your Honor.
So that doesn't help, does it, Mr. Yannetti? I need to read it.
No, I'm happy to pass it up. These
So
are-
just give it to me and let me read it.
I just need to clarify. These are expenses.
So just give it to me and let me read it.
I just need to clarify. These are expenses since the last bail hearing.
All right, so give me a minute before I hear you on
Yes.
this. Has the Commonwealth seen this?
I'm filing it at ex parte.
So no, I have not.
All right, so Mr. Yannetti,
Yannetti.
you've seen, I imagine, in your time as a prosecutor too, you've seen affidavits of indigency.
Yes.
But this doesn't give me enough information.
Well,
Doesn't give me enough information under Brangan, doesn't give me enough information at all. And as you know, that's an awfully high bar. So go ahead.
Look at Karen's face. Before
Your
she
Honor,
even
I-
hears the motion, she's like, well, it's an awfully high bar. Go ahead, peasant.
Will try to edit my comments to stay within the 10-minute mark. It's very difficult to do that. I did not know that we were going to be under such incredible time constraints. As a matter of fact, I thought that the court said the last time we were in court, we had basically your words.
Yeah,
we had
all day. But that was when we had all the motions, but it's just these 2 motions
Right,
today.
but they're big.
They're big. So
Consistent with.
why don't you go ahead and start? If you need additional time, tell me. But it would be
Jackson's
important to
face.
focus your argument. Again, I'm mindful of what the U.S. Attorney said to me in that letter.
And I am as well. And that mindfulness suggests that my comments will be directed to that which is necessary to further the proceedings.
Okay,
Which
go
means that
right ahead.
I'll dismissal. In this particular case, there were myriad examples, which I'll edit. I was going to go through several, but I'll just touch on them very
Yeah,
quickly.
your memo, I have to say, your memo is very thorough and very helpful to me because you outline everything and same in your supplement.
Thank you.
to the extent that the court entertains our motion for sanctions, specifically dismissal as a result of his
So
egregious.
can I just interrupt there and ask
Of course
you,
you can, Your Honor.
are
That's
these
all
going
you
to be
do.
the same motion essentially?
No. There's information and evidence that's been provided by the federal authorities which deals with the egregious conduct of both the district attorney and his investigators and the police. That will be the subject of a separate motion, Your Honor.
So I thought that was going to be your supplemental memo to this motion. It sounds like it's the same issue, Mr.
No,
Blaney.
it's not. And what I'm saying to the court is I have limited time.
When I interrupt you, I stop the time.
Well, I appreciate that.
Fuck off,
Please
Beverly.
interrupt.
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Maybe I did record some extra breath audio and just add it to the video, those last ones, because it's amazing how she does that on the microphone. She's got, as they're starting to speak, She's so annoyed, and I've never seen anybody be so unhappy to be at a place. That's what it seems like, because she's hears that and she's like, ah, why are you speaking to me? Suzanne T, I have watched a lot of trials and I've never seen a judge like this one. Awful. Yeah, she's something. She's something else, this lady. Let me see this slide here. This is, yeah, Jackson says, the judge interrupted me again. Damn, I'm about to lose it. Then Miss Little's like, well, I guess I could give him some lessons in professionalism. And Karen's like, do you think that would work? Yannetti, nope, it's too late. It's too late. There's no hope for her. But she does know how to behave when it interests her, right? So here are my observations, which I kind of already told you guys, but my opinion, okay? I don't have to be right, and everybody has different opinions, but so far, I'll start by saying, number one, I don't know everything that's happening regarding the judge. I don't know her family ties. I don't know her conflict of interest. I don't know. All I know is the information that I've seen, a limited information that has been presented by the defense in the pretrial motion to recuse her, to ask her to be recused, which we are going to watch. And I also, and this behavior that she currently displays in front of us. I do know there's a rumor that her brother may have defended Chris Albert in the 90s about a DUI. There was a fatal DUI. I did not find any actual evidence of that. I saw websites report it, but I did not see the actual evidence. But I did see, and we are going to see that the defense, when they asked the judge to recuse herself, they had the text messages from Sean McCabe saying, calling her Aunt Bev. So that's something we do have from the trial. So after doing this pre-motion and watching the trial, every second of this trial I have watched, my opinions of her is, number one, she's extremely rude and disrespectful to the defense. Number two, there's different treatment to both parties, right? She allows the Commonwealth to waste hours with unnecessary questions about Ryan Nagel's relationship with, oh, how long did you guys break up? Or the music the band was playing, or how much snow, how much snow, how much snow. And even refrained to reprimand the Commonwealth when they introduced a mirror video without appropriately qualifying it to the jury what they were seeing. She didn't have any reprimand towards the Commonwealth for that. And I don't know if it's because she prefers to do everything in the sidebar so people don't actually see her decisions. They don't hear the arguments from the attorneys. I would love it if we could watch what they're talking about and how she will rule. She rules on the objections. But and the fact that she doesn't like to hear the reason for the objection too, I don't like that, because maybe the attorney has a specific thing in mind and she just says, no, just say the word objection. I don't want to hear anything else, which is very, like, I don't know, arrogance. What do you guys think? So another thing I do believe is that, well, I already said that she started with a different attitude than she has now. But finally, with all that being said, when it comes to her rulings, it does not seem that she's prejudicing. She's acting towards the defense with prejudice. It's hard to talk. No matter how annoyed or rude she clearly is to them. So that's just what I've noticed so far, even with the motion from Monday, that she was very, very rude towards Yannetti. She is letting them do the voir dire, and that's going to be fine. But those are my observations here. Let me just see what you guys are thinking. We're all mad here. She has had years to put her biased behavior in check. I bet she has no friends. Maybe. I don't see myself being friends with Aunt Bev. 2 years. She has had 2 years to put her biased behavior in check. Yeah, that's right. But when you're doing the pretrial and you don't have all that attention, you have some attention, but now she has all that attention, maybe she's like, okay, now I have to try to check back into the bag all my behavior, all my bias, all my rudeness, my cutting off, interrupting. But how are you going to do that if that's something that you're accustomed to do it? You can't just change overnight, right? Karina, she sure does. And then we have Sir Greg, a covert narcissist. Oh, that I know a lot about. A covert narcissist uses specific techniques to break the flaw and gain control. Narcs are all about winning at all costs. Bev will be a backstabber by nature, a control freak. Definitely the control is very, very disturbing because like when Miss Little was speaking, for example, she was like, just a yes or no. You don't need to speak. It's like, lady, okay, you're a judge, but relax, relax. So now we're gonna watch the actual motion where they asked her to recuse herself due to the text message for Ain't, calling her Ain't Bev. Let me make this a little bigger.
McCabe made a claim to a reporter in public, claiming to have a personal relationship with this court. And he tried to prove it by citing to the fact that Sean McCabe knows personal information about the judge, which is extremely troubling, about a beach home, not just the fact that the court may own one, but exactly where it is. His words were, after receiving Sean McCabe's words were, after receiving a question from the reporter, do you really have a line to Judge Cannoni? His answer was, Auntie Bev, and I mean no disrespect, I'm quoting, Auntie Bev, whose seaside cottage do you think we're going to bury your corpse in? That claim by a McCabe family member of a personal connection to this court has been the fodder, Your Honor, of myriad public comments and questions about this court's ability to maintain fairness over this particular proceeding. And if that weren't enough, the defense has just recently received information that another witness, a similar witness for the prosecution, by the name of Julie Nagel, who was in Julie Nagel, Nagel, who was inside the house at 34 Fairview on the night of John O'Keefe's death, apparently some 5 months after John's murder, and this is all public. We didn't have to do any digging and searching with subpoenas or otherwise. This was all public information. She used a Venmo app to pay for what appears to be a beach house rental, and the recipient on the Venmo payment reads Frank and Beverly. And that is a public payment. It was there for all the world to see. And as soon as a reporter picked up on that, which is how we found out about it, and publicized that, she immediately took that payment down and took it off the internet. Your Honor, there has been an undeniable erosion of public confidence in this court's ability to be fair. But let me be very, very clear. The decision to recuse or disqualify a court due to the appearance of impartiality is not an indictment of this court's competence or integrity. It is not an indictment of this court's character. Nowhere close, and we do not aver that at all. Rather, the decision should be an expression of the unwavering commitment that this court has to justice, to fairness, to the rule of law. That's all.
There's some allegation that I have some relationship with a man named Sean McCabe, and that therefore I have a connection to this case, and therefore I have a bias in favor of the Commonwealth. That simply is not the truth. I want to make it very clear that I reject the notion that untrue and unsubstantiated rumors spread on the internet can force a judge to recuse herself from a case.
That's what happened, and those are the text messages that that we saw. Richard, thank you so much for your super chat. We got Karina saying, I think that she made that motion so that Lolly could get her little coughs in without needing to know why he's actually objecting. Yeah, right. Just like objection, Your Honor. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. We got Coca, a man named Sean McCabe. Sounds familiar. And Karina is like, oh, I've never seen this before. Yep. Sir Greg, there's her way out. Shut it down. We're all mad here. She knows she's lying. It's written all over her face. Seriously? Like, really? Do you guys think she really knows this Sean McCabe? I mean, Julie Nagel was the sister of Ryan Nagel, right? I don't know if you guys remember her. She's the one she's the one that said she did admit she was, drinking a lot, and she saw the blob. She saw the blob in the snow, and she told everybody, I see a 6-foot blob, and nobody heard her. Nobody heard her say anything. So she's the one that they're talking about in this motion that had some type of receipt with the name Franklin Beverly. And then Sean McCabe sent a text message to somebody saying, oh, I have connections. Yeah, Aunt Bev. So now I like to try to be fair and to think that what if this is just, the internet being the internet? It could be, because we have a lot of stuff out there. That's why when I heard about the DUI thing from Chris Albert, I tried to find the police report myself. I couldn't find it. All I found, it kept directing me back to this specific website. So I was like, okay, I can't confirm that. But this is a text message the defense introduced. So that seems pretty legit, right? Very weird, because it makes me very mad that a judge has the power to say, no, I won't recuse myself. This makes me mad. Why isn't there like some type of supervisor, somebody that oversees like an appellate court or something that would look into these type of situations and say, yes, I think it's appropriate that you should recuse yourself? Why is she the one that makes the decision? I don't like that part. I don't like that part at all. So let's see what you guys are saying about all this. We're all mad here. She may not know this guy, but I believe she's connected to someone. Definitely weird how she treats the witnesses when they're on the stand and how she protects them a lot of times, except for Proctor. She's letting Proctor go down the drain. She's letting him go down the drain. I'm here for it. I'm watching it. I'm grabbing popcorn tomorrow. We got EMJ80s. I think if Lolly had to cite all of his objections in open court, then we would have at least 50% less. Half of his objections seem to half of his objections seem to be simply because he doesn't like what's being said. Right. It's like, Your Honor, I feel like he's saying mom when he's objecting, because he's just like, Mom, I don't like this. Objection, I don't like the answer. And that I am with you 100%, EMJ. We're all mad here. I wish I knew how to do good research. I mean, it's not that hard. We just do. Oh, you mean like to go further? Yeah. There's probably websites, that you can get the police reports and stuff by date. Of course, I used to do mortgage processing. So I did a lot of research, like public records. I had to go through foreclosures and look at the court documents, all of that. So there's definitely things that are out there, but I didn't find Chris Albert's report. Karina, there is too many dodgy inconsistencies. Right. It's just too much. If all the defense has to do is to present doubt, guys, we have doubt every second of this trial. Every second, every minute, there's something. And this is what we have today. Like, the jury doesn't even have everything. For example, they don't know about this motion that she was asked to be recused of the case. They don't know that, right? So there's a lot. And then we got Sir Greg. If she holds bar cards, she's not allowed to practice law. Judges are legal, nothing to do with the law. Okay. Thank you. Here we got this slide saying this is how we feel after an hour with Aunt Bev. It's just interruption after interruption after interruption. And I feel like the defense team is so classy. I mean, I am a fan. They're so classy, and it's kind of like when you go outside and you say good morning to a neighbor and they just ignore that you said good morning and they just keep walking. I have neighbors like that, by the way. Yes. So it's like the rudeness of the person is so unfamiliar to somebody with, you know, the basic manners and respect that we grow up with, that you're like, what do I do after I come here, I come prepare, I do my job, I have all the motions, I argue in front of the judge, and what do I do after she just interrupts every sentence we have? So they just look defeated here in this picture. It must be after talking to Aunt Bev for a minute. And now we're going to go over the motion that we had this week, the motion on the experts that were involved in the federal case. So I have limited understanding, okay, disclosure, I have limited understanding. This is what I believe they're talking about. They had the experts mentioned during the pretrial motion. The defense is going to have experts to talk about the one that is being objected to is a doctor that the defense wants to come in and to talk about the arm. They want the doctor to talk about the arm and how those marks and scratches and bites are not consistent with a car accident, with a car, with it being a homicide by vehicular. I can't say that. A car homicide. That's what I'm going to call it. And so the doctor's supposed to come in, and then this is the thing with the judge. Okay. The judge says, you guys never spoke to the doctor? No, we didn't, Your Honor, because we're not allowed to, because we're not supposed to ask her about testimony prior to, because she's a federal witness. The judge is aware of that. And she says, well, but then I don't have the discovery, which is Rule 14. Well, yes, Your Honor, because we can't give you the discovery. We only have her name, the qualifications, and when she's going to come, and the basics. And the Commonwealth's like, well, but then we're going to have a trial by ambush because we're not going to know what this lady is going to say. Okay, this is all resolved by voir dire, but the fact that that the Commonwealth during the written motion pretty much attacked the ethical side of the defense team, saying, you guys have this information, you just didn't want to provide it, right? Then Yanette is pissed off. He's coming in hot. And as soon as he comes in hot, she's pissed too, because she believes that he's making a show. And does Yanette make a little bit of a show? Yes. Does Alan Jackson make a little bit of a show? Yes. But that is what I'm here for. I'm here to watch it all. And then the judge is not having it. She's like, stop, stop, stop. So let's see what this was like Monday morning before the trial. In 5, 4.
We need to be heard on this.
That's why we're here, Mr. Yannetti.
Thank you.
5 seconds
I'd
in.
like to start
3 seconds in.
with the most outrageous and false
And she's breathing in the microphone.
made in its motion.
Can I just ask you, there's no jury here. Can I just ask you how long this is going to take?
Between 5 and 10 minutes.
How freaking rude is that? He's like, I just want to say this is out. How long is this gonna take? How long? How long is this gonna take? Sorry, this is very loud right now because the other video was very low, so I had to increase the volume. How long is this gonna take?
Okay. Because I don't need, the hyperbole.
Your Honor, I need to make my argument in the way that I think is most effective for my client. I will keep this brief and succinct, but I have points to make that I need to put on record.
Okay, and I'm the person you are trying to convince,
Understand.
correct?
I understand that.
Unfortunately.
The Commonwealth, in a public filing, wrote the following on page 3 of its motion. Quote,
Karina.
during a pretrial hearing on February 15th, when asked by the court whether there was any dispute about a canine's involvement or canine DNA, Attorney Yannetti indicated no, and that the defense was not pursuing such claim. I was astounded at that for 2 reasons.
Astounded,
First of all, it is false. It is a lie. Second, the Commonwealth has knowingly lied about something where it's easily verifiable that they lied. We pulled the tape from February 15th.
I don't have that.
I'm sorry?
I don't have that in my motion.
It's on page 3, Your Honor.
She
I
loves
have the
saying that.
Commonwealth's
I don't
renewed
have that.
motion
I
for
don't have that.
reciprocal
I don't have
discovery, a
that.
motion to exclude defendant's expert, Dr. Marie Russell.
You have it, Your Honor. It's just on the next page. Can you look instead of interrupting?
I don't see your name at all, Ms. Giannetti.
At all. I don't see it at all.
I'm on page 3.
Sorry, it's not page 3, it's page 4. My apologies. My name is right there on page 4. It says exactly what I just argued to the court.
See how she
About the
likes to
fifth-
break his flow, right? And he gets a little frustrated, but he's so professional that they're dealing very well with this. Both him and Alan Jackson are dealing very well with the interruptions because they go right back into it. Sometimes they do show a little bit of annoyance, like when she asked for the break for the clerk. But I mean, props to them because she does it pretty much, I believe, on purpose to get them off their flow.
Line down starts during a final pretrial hearing on February 15th, exactly
Okay.
as I said.
Okay.
All right? We pulled the tape from that February 15th hearing. Here is what was actually said. This court asked me the following, quote, while we're talking about DNA, Mr. Yannetti, do we need to be concerned about canine DNA? Where do we stand with that? I replied, no, I think this is the only outstanding DNA issue. The court then replied, okay, so all right, we're not dealing with canine DNA. And I said, no. There is nothing in there, contrary to what the Commonwealth has represented to this court in a public filing, that I said there was no canine involvement. There is nothing in there, contrary to what the canine represented to this court and to the public, that the defense was not pursuing such a claim. Can you imagine the nerve of the Commonwealth to spin that into...
This is the hyperbole I don't need. Could you please get to the point?
Your Honor,
We've got a jury
God.
coming in 15 minutes.
I understand, but this is my integrity has been attacked. There have been allegations of bad faith that has been attacked, and I need to defend myself and my client.
Yep, and there's nothing you can do about that, Your Honor, because you have to let him speak. Even though you want to cut him off and you want to say, the jury's coming in. Lady, this is not your show. This is not a Commonwealth show. The defendant is innocent until she's proven guilty. She has the right to defend herself. And no matter what, the United States still has a constitution. And no matter how annoyed you get, he still has the right to speak. And this is being televised to everybody. So yeah, he's going to speak.
We were only discussing at that time whether canine DNA was
Go,
still
Yannetti.
outstanding.
Woo.
And I succinctly replied, no. And they've spun that or tried to spin that into a claim that we're somehow waiving our right to argue that John O'Keefe's arm injuries were consistent with a dog attack. And I asked
Why would they do that? That's crazy.
Have they no
Why would they
shame?
waive that?
I'm
Have they
sure
no
it's not
shame?
lost on this court that this false filing by the Commonwealth comes on the heels of their nefarious attempt to pass off an inverted video, a false video, before this good jury hearing this case. Never once.
So again, she grabs the microphone, she breathes heavily into it, but look at what he's saying. He's saying that the Commonwealth has introduced the video, right? The mirror video without accurately describing it. The Commonwealth has lied in their motion. And you know what she's annoyed at? She's annoyed at Yannetti. So she does no reprimanding the Commonwealth because she knows she was in those pre-trial motions. She knows Yannetti did not waive any rights about arguing that it could have been an animal attack. Why the heck would he do that? If it's common sense, if he brought a huge poster with a picture of the arm to a pretrial motion to show her this is what they are intending to argue, why would they say we waive it? And then the Commonwealth says they waived it, a lie, and she's annoyed that he's speaking
During
at
the
all.
direct examination of Sergeant Buchanan, did they inquire or mention the fact that the video...
Can we please, all right, I'm going to stop you.
Of course you are.
Please direct your comments to
Rude.
Rule 14 and the reciprocal discovery obligations that the defense has. That's what this motion is. I know you have a speech you want to make, Mr.
It's
Yannetti.
not a, Your Honor, it's most respectfully, it's not a speech. It's
Okay,
a
so
defense of being alleged to have committed bad faith.
So you've moved on from that. So please just focus on Rule 14, and let's do it in two separate parts. So you've changed, you're not calling Frank Sheridan,
No,
right?
we are calling Frank Sheridan.
All right. So you've got a new medical, Dr. Russell. We'll do that part of it separately. Tell me about what you've provided the Commonwealth on Chris Van E.
They've gotten his CV.
Similarly, what's outlined in the rest of the motion, that's all the expert evidence the Commonwealth has received from the defense is contained within the Commonwealth's motion.
Okay. So the defense needs to provide, I'd suggest you listen.
I
The defense
suggest you
needs to
listen.
provide what chronological data Mr. Van E relied upon and exactly what his opinion is. All right, by the close of business tomorrow.
That's fine.
All right. Now, regarding the three experts from ARCCA. So I've read that report. I can't tell who does what or what the basis of their opinion is. So what have you provided?
Your Honor, we've provided everything that we know. We've mentioned to this court at sidebar, these experts did not arise from us.
I understand that.
These experts were
Do you
hired by
understand
the
that?
federal
Doesn't
government.
look like it.
And they provided a report to us pursuant to the TUI request. And it was specifically outlined that and ruled that they could not prep with us for trial.
So I'm to believe that the defense is calling.
I'm to believe the defense is here telling her we were not allowed to speak to them to go any further into what their testimony is going to be because of the federal case. She's like, so I'm to believe that you haven't spoken to them. I'm to believe that you actually follow the rules because, Lolly doesn't. I don't follow the rules. So why are you pretending to follow the rules?
Three witnesses that you've never spoken to and putting them on the stand here
That's essentially it. We've spoken to them only for the purposes of coordination of their testimony and their background. That's it. We have not been able to interview them regarding their findings, which are outlined in detail in the reports that both sides have.
See, I don't see that as being, the report, I don't see that as being detailed. It leaves a lot of questions as the gatekeeper as to what they can testify to.
Well,
And you have not complied with your Rule 14
we
obligations.
can't, Your Honor. We can't.
So you can't, but you haven't. So I am left with you haven't complied.
Oh my God. Yes. I mean, it's okay. I'm going to read this one. I'm going to read all of these because these are all really good. I got Michael saying she totally wrecks the flow of the defense, yet allows us to doze off during the ramblings of Lolly purposely. I wish she would interrupt Lolly like she just did. Let's just focus on Rule 14. How about we just focus on the actual victim, crime, the evidence, instead of all these hours that we spent listening to you, Lolly? But she doesn't do that, right? She just lets him go and go and go. So this is very apparent, Judge. We have eyes and ears. We have eyes and ears. Karina says, Sir Greg, spot on. Okay, so Sir Greg said, Bev needs Lolly to win. This is overcharged and someone has to set off that charge. Dealing in slaves is a crime. Profiteering from dealing in slaves is a crime. Yeah, they definitely overcharged this intent. They said that she killed him with premeditation, that she thought about it. That's insane. Why would she kill him in front of a cop's house with a bunch of cameras, supposedly, right? After everybody saw them together and just leave him there? That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not saying 100% that I know for sure that this happened or that happened. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out as we are watching this trial that is very confusing because there is evidence, all right, but then there's all these questions about the evidence and the people dealing with the evidence. So it's definitely not an easy thing. What's easy to see is that there is doubt. That's easy to see. So here we have something I wanted to read because that is absolutely how I feel with some of these people. So, Greg, cognitive dissonance is a tool used by psychopaths to scramble the minds of those they have a vendetta against. Bev will be looking for a chance to criticize, be offended, or be angry. All narcs do it. I mean, the narcs, the psychopaths, they are a very interesting subject. I have covered some of that during the Murdoch trial, during some of the other trials. I have referred to the psychopathy because I met a guy one time that had a narcissistic personality disorder, which is considered a form of psychopathy, and I had no idea. Like, I have empathy, I have compassion, I'm kind of gullible and genuine, not anymore that much, but this person, I just couldn't understand the actions, the behavior, the cognitive dissonance, trying to make me feel like I'm crazy. And after that whole situation passed, I read a book, very good book. If you ever encounter an emotionally abusive person, narcissist, psychopath, any kind of person like that, called Psychopath Free. Psychopath Free, you can get it on Amazon. Very good book. I listened to it. The Audible was fantastic. And my whole world opened up because then I found out what word salad was, gaslighting was, cognitive dissonance was. And now when I'm watching this trial, like I'm watching Brian Albert speak, it's like gaslighting. You're talking, trying to make me feel like I'm crazy, but you don't make any sense, sir, for somebody who's actually following what you're trying to say. The cognitive dissonance, the same thing. It's like you have eyes and ears, but they want to make you believe something else. No. Let's not fall for that anymore. Corina, thank you so much, Corina. It's true. I mean, it's true. It's sad. So now we have one last video to watch if you guys want to stay. It's this one here, and it's the current trial. Some clips of how Judge Bev, or Aunt Bev, for those who are closest to her, she acted, and the defense, and I don't have a lot of the prosecution because, but I do have some of the defense and some of the judge. So let's watch this one.
We'll let that stand and then move on.
Are at 12:13, almost 12:14, according to the video, and it would have taken you about 7 minutes to walk home, correct?
Not exactly sure how. I think
Can I see Counselor Tebber for just a second, please?
She's
You
laughing.
deny that you were very close with Courtney Proctor?
No, what?
objection, Your Honor.
No, go ahead. Next question. You got your answer.
I didn't hear the answer.
Go ahead, repeat that.
Do you deny that you were very close with Courtney Proctor?
No.
Okay. Did you say very rarely you talked to
Phone.
Courtney Proctor by phone?
Usually it's text.
By that testimony that you talked to Courtney Proctor very rarely by
Wasn't it 6
Do we
to
have,
7
do
times?
we have a time frame?
See, so this is again an example where she interrupts the defense. The defense is asking the questions and she interrupts them. Do we have time? Excuse me, lady, you're not the prosecutor. You're the judge. You're not supposed to interrupt. And when you are an attorney and you have prepared for the trial and you have all these questions, sometimes they have questions that are in a flow, right? You start like this, and you grow into the question where you want to gotcha. You want to get the witness with their lie and stuff. And she always interrupts, which is like, and these are the first few days of the trial. It's like totally inappropriate. And she doesn't do that with the Commonwealth.
You obviously didn't take it.
Right.
And who's the guy on the far right?
Tim.
That was Tim. Who's the guy next to Tim?
John. Right?
So who do you think?
Do you still need the photo up? I'm sorry. I thought you were done with it.
Do you remember?
Yeah, it was John, yeah.
Okay. Put the
Yes.
baseball cap on, correct?
Yes.
I don't need it. No.
Okay. Just two parts. Does it refresh your recollection?
Understood. Does that refresh your recollection about what you may have said? Reverse and hit a pedestrian.
Objection.
I'll allow that. You didn't see that, right?
No.
You didn't see it, did you? You didn't, did you? You didn't. You didn't.
Yes or no? Yes or no? Is that proceeding?
Can you answer that, yes or no?
No, I can't, Your Honor.
Next question.
Poor Higgins. Oh, poor Higgins. He can't. He could. I forgot what the question was, but it was definitely a question that he could answer yes or no. He's like, no, Your Honor, I can't. Why are you interrupting? There's no objection. No objection pending.
Mr. Jackson?
My preference would be, sir, yes, I'd prefer that it was secured.
Okay, that wasn't very difficult.
Apologize on the
Objection, Your Honor.
So, no comments, Mr. Yannetti?
At the time that Lieutenant Tully first called,
Correct. But can I explain?
Mr. Lally will, I'm sure, let you explain. At this point, I'm going to be asking the questions if you
Okay.
don't mind.
There's no secrets here, right? He's my friend.
Mr. Higgins, let me ask the questions. I get it.
That's fine.
I get it. Officer Lang, what we just talked about, is that an example of you using your position as a police officer to come to the aid of one of the members of the Albert family?
It was me coming to the aid of a citizen who was
Heyo.
terrified.
Pull
He's a
up,
friend
pull
of
up.
yours, correct?
Sure.
And does sure mean yes?
Yes. Yeah, they're friends.
Was there something confusing about my question the first time I asked it?
Objection, Your Honor.
I think that's what I said, yeah.
Do you want to stick with that?
Objection.
Were you?
Chloe was rehomed in May
And we can use
2024.
whatever words we want to. Rehomed, rehoused, whatever. But you got rid of her. She's no longer part of the Albert family, right?
Objection.
Right.
I just want to say, when I started watching this trial, I thought Yannetti was going to be like the beast in the defense case, you know? And I just have to say, Alan Jackson, you grew on me. I'm like, Alan Jackson, go get him. He is absolutely an animal. I thought he was like quiet and nice. I don't know why in the beginning. And now I'm like, I feel bad. I feel bad for Proctor tomorrow. A little bit. No, not really. Okay, so here you go.
September 4th was my birthday. The phone was broken and failing. I had planned on getting a new phone, and that just happened to be the day that I got it.
Happy birthday. Was that a coincidence? What the heck were you talking about?
I don't know the timing of when they asked when those conversations were.
Mr. Albert,
So
I'm leaving it open to you. I don't care when it was. I'm asking you.
He's so
have you
arrogant, this
ever
guy.
Had a conversation with Brian Higgins about your phones, respectively.
we may have, I can't remember that conversation specifically.
You're aware that Brian Higgins
Lies.
has also gotten rid of his phone, correct?
Lies.
I am not aware of that until after the time you're talking about.
So
You don't know how to conjugate verbs? Were you aware of that? I am not aware of that until after. Or maybe I was not aware of that until after. The way he gaslights, just no matter what, the family does that a lot. Like the family does seem to have learned this technique of gaslighting and just this guy, I think he's my least favorite in this whole trial. He just seems to me to be completely arrogant, sarcastic, and above the law. Like have a display of above the law. Like I don't, he will lie because he knows he talked to Higgins. He knows Higgins doesn't have his phone anymore, and he doesn't seem to worry about any consequences. That's what I think. Hi, Justin Tharp. We have the ghost. Is that the ghost? We have Karina. I love them both, Yannetti and Jackson, but I get super excited when I hear Jackson object because I know he's gonna do cross. Yes. Especially with people that deserve it. You know what I mean? Like that's my point. Like some of them, like the guy that was investigating the crime scene that found the evidence, that they left it there. I leave you this evidence here in this place and you find this evidence. That guy, I kind of felt bad for him because he's just doing his job, whatever. But when they deserve it, like this guy, where is he? Over here. Then I'm so excited when Jackson is gonna do the cross. Sir Greg, Alan knows how the NARC game is played. He puts a dressing on the word salad. Yes, I agree with that. These attorneys are not amateurs to the narcissism, the gaslighting, because he even used that word one time. I think in one of the clips that we have, he said, there's no something about gaslighting. And I was like, yep. Justin, I think Proctor beat him. Really? Who? Who do you, Justin, clarify, please. Who do you think Proctor beat? John? No, I don't know. Corina says, I'm better than you mentality. Exact. I thought you said I'm better than you mentally. I was going to say probably, Corina, probably, because there's a lot going on here. But yes, I'm better than you mentality. Yes. Like they all grew up in this, this arrogant way of being and feeling. And there is nothing better than watching somebody like that crumble, because usually I feel a lot of compassion, empathy. I don't like people being in situations like this, but with him, this is why I have a poop in his forehead the whole time, because he really, really aggravates me. EMJ80s, Buchanan. I'm not Proctor. Buchanan? It's Buchanan. Buchanan is by far the worst gaslighter, in my opinion. He was literally lying to the jury about the events they were witnessing before their own eyes. Okay, I get it. I mean, it's like they don't know how to be wrong or to say, I apologize, I misrepresented that. Like, they will die with the lie or whatever their story is. And that's another thing that I'm noticing here. So yeah, EMJ80, I did make a video on Buchanan's body language. I wasn't that harsh on him, but I did see some things on him. I'm going to make one on Proctor. I'm starting tonight because that one, man, I see him disappearing as a human. He's just disappearing. At first, when I was starting to listen to his direct and just going on with life, driving and doing stuff and listening to him on my headphones, I was like, oh, he doesn't have a lot of body language. Like, he's not doing anything. He just looks like a banana face, like no emotion, no nothing, like a shell. But then when I started to watch a little bit of the cross, and like I can see him sweating, and I can see his eyebrows raised and his forehead, and I can see all kinds of things that I'm gonna work on next. Coca says Bianca has been watching the trial. Oh man. Every day, all day, every day. Even when there's no trial like today, I'm making clips and I'm watching the trial. I'm watching the trial. But this is a good one. Justin Tharp, brain Albert is getting left when it comes to being a narcissist by Proctor. It's surprising Proctor wasn't at the Albert on the 29th. Interesting. So you're saying that Proctor is a narcissist too. I'm going to pay very close attention to that when I'm making his video. Justin, they're all bald. Right. And that's a perfect place to put a poop emoji. This is why I love it, because it looks like a poop hat, and that's what they have inside their heads. Sir Greg, someone called Canton a city. If it's incorporated, the police could have qualified immunity. They have permission to lie. Call it presumption of law. Legal is the undoing of God's law. So let's finish this video here. We're almost done.
Without qualifying your answer my question. As you sit here, you're aware that Brian Higgins has also gotten rid of his phone.
I know at some point, Brian
Yes or no, Mr.
It's
Howard?
a yes or no.
Objection, Your Honor.
Can you answer that yes or no, sir?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Was that so hard?
As a first responder, the first 48 hours of an investigation are absolutely critical, correct?
Objection.
Never heard of 48 hours before, sir. What? 48 hours?
In that context, I don't.
No 6'2" man, correct?
Correct, but I also was not looking out my window.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did
See,
anybody...
that's her getting a little bit of lessons from her parents, right? I wasn't looking at it either. The question was, did you see it? No, I did not.
in this courtroom ask you if you were looking out your window?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
That was an answer to a question that nobody asked you, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Because you're not close friends with her at all, correct?
I am not.
In fact, you don't really like her very much, do you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Remember my fird question this morning? I said, have you spoken to anybody in order to prepare for your testimony? And you said no.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not true. Spoke with Mr. Lau.
Coca
Okay.
said they're all bald
Yes.
because their
Is that
hair
okay? Yes or no?
got
Yes.
stuck into
Okay.
Karen's
Your
SUV.
testimony is you are not instructed to say, I don't remember. You just literally don't remember.
The problem with your memory.
It's an issue with your memory,
He's like, oh
not
shit,
an
I have to
instruction
say,
that you
oh, sorry.
received.
Correct.
Right. But you
Must
do remember
stick with the story.
2.5 years ago, you left 34 Fairview.
Even if you have to admit you're 20, how old is he? 20? I don't know. You're a 20-year-old young guy. Even if you have to admit to the whole world, I do have issues with my memory. Like I have mental issues. I have issues with my memory. You stick with the story to the end. You stick with the story. No, I did not discuss this case. 2 years. And Colin was fantastic. Fantastic. I do believe he has a little bit of those things we were discussing earlier in this video. But I didn't want to bombard him. So I did make a video on his body language as well. But I was a little bit soft on him because he's young and I don't know the whole story. I don't want to be here, destroying anybody's life. But I do believe he has a little bit of that, the narcissist thing going on because he just doesn't care about the case until they start talking about him because that's all that matters. When they start talking about him, he's like, all right. And here he has no shame. He will say, I have issues with my memory instead of saying, yeah, I did discuss the case, which makes more sense. But let me try this way because I think everybody's dumb. Let's see what you guys are saying here. The chat is on fire. We got Trina Grossi. Hi, Trina. Lots of pants on fire. Lots of pants on fire. Oh my goodness. You guys are like, no good. EMJ80s. Brian A is an expert liar and gives very little away with his body language. The only part he struggles with is his mouth. He can't help the physiological reaction to lying in his mouth. Right. Yes. Oh my God. You took the words right out of my mouth. I thought the same way. When I heard him watch, I was like, wow, this guy's good. Like he's a professional witness on the stand, right? He's like, good morning, judge. Good morning, jury. Sir, please, we're not stupid. We see right through your bald face. So he's very professional, answering everything. He has an answer for everything. But people have like common sense, and we also have it's kind of like a sixth sense. We have our gut feeling that tells us this person is not being genuine, right? And that's kind of how I felt with him. But once I started working on his video, which is the Mac Alberts, I did a video on the whole family. I saw so much in Brian Albert, especially with the tongue. Like he gets aggravated in his face, but you have to look at micro expressions. You have to slow down sometimes the video, because if you're not paying attention to that, you think he has no body language at all. But we all do. We all do. Joshing you says Colin will be a great cop. Probably, yeah. It's gonna be a Boston PD. Colin is definitely not as fragile as he likes to appear on the stand. Yes, we did see those videos coming in. KO, pull up, beeps, pull up. Now, he does seem like in person, if he was confronting the person, that he wouldn't be that courageous, my opinion. Like when Proctor was asked, yesterday, was that yesterday or last year? I don't know. When Proctor was asked, well, Yannetti is here right now. Tell him to his face how you feel. That was gold. Because it's so easy to write things on the internet and to text things. And nowadays, unfortunately, we have lost a lot of our humanity, right? Our humanity, because we just say things. But if you have the person right in front of you, it's a whole other game. This is why whenever there's like a confrontation, life lessons here. if there's like a confrontation or some type of argument that I'm about to have with a friend or a loved one, I try to avoid text messages completely and say, "Hey, do you have time for a phone call, or can I meet you somewhere?" Because I feel like if I look at the person in their eyes, or if I'm looking at them, or even if I am on a phone call with them and hearing their voice and everything, that I don't have the same, I don't have the same, maybe courage, but I don't have the same language that I would use if I was just texting and I'm angry. I'm angry and I'm texting. It's like impersonal. So I always try to do that. And another very important thing we're learning in this case, that I learned a long time ago because I do real estate, is to be careful what you say. Like, I always, everything that I write, every email, every text, no matter how the other person was acting, if they were rude or not, always pretend like if you were in court one day and everybody was reading this, would you be okay with what you said? And that was a great life lesson I got years ago. And we can see Proctor did not learn that lesson. Nobody told him about it. So now he's the most humiliated person I've ever seen. Ever seen. I don't even know how to feel about this. But anyways, we're not there yet. That's tomorrow. Let's finish this video real quick.
12:10 a.m., correct? Down to the minute.
Correct.
Yes, Greg, intuition. Thank you.
Did she go
Words.
to text, Mr. Higgins?
I
Word.
don't know.
Oh,
Did she
this
respond
guy.
to the text?
Higgins
did not
is another
respond.
one.
You use the passive voice. It went in a trash bag. Did it fly out of your hand unexpectedly into a trash bag, sir?
No, sir. It would have been disposed of with the phone.
No, I understand, but are
It would have
you
been.
reluctant to say that you put it in a trash bag, sir?
Objection.
Can you answer that? Are you reluctant to say that?
No, Your Honor. I put it in a trash bag.
I love him.
Or with my
And
trash.
then you also took your phone.
And then look at his proud face. Look at his proud face when he says, I put it in a trash bag, and he's like, or with my trash. Sir, do you really think that's smarter? You think that sounds better? You're proud of yourself?
Well, I was cutting through the base, and I believe how I
Did you
testified
drive to a
was
military base, sir?
I was cutting through a base. Yes.
Did you drive to it?
Yes, sir. Yes, I threw it away.
Oh my God. I think Brian Higgins was one of my favorite characters of this whole movie we've been watching for weeks now, because he's just something else. I mean, I don't know what's going on in here. How did he become such a special agent? I don't know. But let me just read your comments before we get out of here today. Karina says he knows he can do whatever he likes and he'll get away with it. They've done it through their children's lives. Yes, I believe you're talking about Brian Albert, and that is the feeling that I get as well, which is very sad, But thankfully, with the information age that we live in and the internet and everything, things are starting to come out, and some of these people may, like what happened with Murdaugh and the family, and now what we're seeing here happening in Canton, like. People are not just closing their eyes anymore. Citizens are paying attention. They're looking, they're pointing things out. So let's see how much longer they're going to be getting away with all this. They all seem very similar to me. Yeah, they act very similar. And the fact that Jennifer McCabe created a timeline for everybody, let's create a timeline and let's see what we're going to say. And then that they have the audacity to come into court and say, no, we didn't discuss the case. Come on, guys. Come on. How much crap can you throw at people and expect people to believe you? Like, seriously, this is the work of art of narcissists, to be honest. Justin, the video of Colin looking to fight some kids after he claimed to be against fighting was very contradicting. Yes, but I don't know if this is exactly how I got it. I mean, what I've heard, rumors not in the court, not presented in the court yet, was that Colin has videos of him fighting outside. Okay, we didn't get that. But what I understood was that the defense was saying, did you ever get into a fight? And he said no. only I did boxing for training cardio, right? And then what he did have in those videos was him making threats, right? KO, pull up, come here, and I'll show you, I'll break your face in half. But like I was saying, we're just saying things is different than facing. Like if you, Justin, saw Colin and Colin actually said that to you face to face. So that part I kind of stay in this position right now because I haven't seen more. People said the defense may bring more into Colin's situation. I don't know. But it is the video of Colin looking to fight after he claimed to be against fighting was very contradicting. But it is contradicting also, in my opinion, the way that he was testifying and how dressed he is, how well dressed he is, wearing the same shirt every both days, even though he says he changes his shirt a lot. And he's very like proper. So that video was contradicting to that persona he was trying to portray to the jury. That's for sure, because then we see him how he really acts outside, and that's his actual body language, his actual baseline. It's not this guy, yes sir, no sir, yes sir. So yeah, that part absolutely contradicting. It's more personal and it's face to face. Oh yeah, there's definitely things I would be able to text that I would not be able to say face to face, EMJ 80s, but Proctor's selfish arrogance shown through once again, and he refused to back down from his Yannetti comment, regardless of how this is making him look on the stand or its effect on the trial. Yes, and I don't know if anybody else agrees with me, but please put it in the comment if you do agree or not. I found that when he said that about Yannetti, that I still don't feel so hot about him right now. I'm like, oh, so that means that you feel the same way about Karen. Did anybody think that, or is it just me? Because that's how I felt. I'm like, wow, this was 2 years ago, and you regret, and you were like, this is unfortunate and unprofessional. So if you're saying you feel the same way about Yannetti, do you feel the same way about Karen still? And you're just lying, getting Higgy with it. Oh my gosh, Higgins is something else. I can't. Love the graphics. Thank you so much, Karina. I do enjoy making them, and I have to work on Proctor. There's so much work to do always. Michael Aaron. See, I got your name, Michael. They are cops, professional liars. Maybe YouTube won't remove this comment attempt like my last one about calling. Really interesting. Joshing you, the rest of Cross on Proctor is going to be great. Epic. Going to be epic. It deserves a proper attention in all of the things. Sir Greg, it'll make a movie. They probably started on it by now. I mean, this is better than any movie I've watched. Unfortunately, we're dealing with an actual person that has actually died and that deserved a lot more respect, especially because he was a police officer. And in addition to that, because of his character, because of his reputation, because of the man that that Officer John O'Keefe was, and that multiple witnesses have testified about. He deserved a proper investigation. He deserved more respect and more, I don't have the word right now as usual, but like reverence. His family deserves. Imagine his mother already lost a daughter and now losing the son. I know I lost my mom tragically in an accident. It was very unexpected. She was very young. And I also know a lady that lost her daughter, also in a very unexpected and tragic way. And it changes your life forever. You're traumatized forever. Of course, with time, there's many things we can do to cope better. But I cannot even imagine the amount of pain and the hole in her heart, and for these people to just botch this investigation and joke around. And Proctor, the worst thing for me was when he was joking around Karen's health condition. I mean, dude, like, we're all human beings. Something can happen to you, something can happen, and this is just it's not even like, it's not funny. I get that the nude pictures that I don't agree with it, But I get that he's a guy, he's a police officer. He's like, ha ha ha, I have this lady's phone. I don't have any nudes yet. It's not the most unthinkable thing for me in the world for me to see that happening. But the other comments were completely like, no, there's no world where that would be acceptable. Higgins is the weakest link. If anyone breaks eventually, it will be him. Really? Huh. I've heard in other channels rumors of somebody testifying for the feds. Maybe it's Higgins. I don't know. Karina, it's a movement. Coca, Michael, Aaron, C 130 on my chat comments. Okay, so this, yeah, about the comments disappearing. Joshing, make no mistake, this is typical behavior for the legal system. Right, which is very good that we're able to see it and that more and more trials are being televised now, right? Michael Coca, I quoted Collins, threat in the actual word beginning with B ending in, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, when you do write things in YouTube like that, I think they will remove it. I try, but I do see people cursing and doing all kinds of stuff. So I don't understand YouTube very much. Josh, I have never had a case where the cops did not lie on the stand. Really? Whoa. Boom, that just blew my mind. That just blew my mind. Yeah, they will do everything to protect their own reputation and stuff, right? Joshing while he was wearing the same shirt 2 days in a row. Yep. Let me see. Sunshine, Magical, Rainbow Unicorn, Cordelia Beth. Wow, you're new here. Hello, welcome. I wish the cable news would be punished for false reporting, false video titles. Sometimes they aren't sensationalizing their videos, but rather they're just lying about whatever happened. Yes. Yeah, if you watch the mainstream media on this case, it's so like the other way. It's so the other way, as usual, right? It's the cognitive dissonance thing. Don't believe your eyes, your lying eyes and ears. Just believe what we're going to put in front of you. Like I start watching sometimes the commentary and I'm like, it's kind of like this. The defense claims there must have been an animal attack. However, the prosecution comes in with a very strong case and all the evidence that has been found against the defendant who ran over her boyfriend. That's how they reported. Like, dude, that's not exactly what's happening. We don't know yet. And then the last comment I'm going to read, Colin King to court, very polished. And then a video appears of him showing his true colors. Exactly. So, Colin, you don't fool us. You're not fooling anyone. We know you're just a young brat that is trying to pretend to be this nice, well-mannered guy. But guess what? When you aren't something, you can't just pretend to be for too long, because some people will catch your glimpses. And not only you, I'm talking about all of the witnesses in this case, especially the McAlberts and the McCraves. So I am going to work on the Proctor video, guys. I'm so grateful that you were here. I wanted to publish this video, but I decided I'm going to make a live and maybe people will participate and make it more fun. So thank you so much for everything, for all the support, all the comments, all the shares, and I will see you guys on the Proctor video. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to do a body language video on Proctor live or if you just want me to publish, okay? Have a great evening, everybody. Karina, to you and your husband, have a great evening. Must be very late over there right now. And thank you, everybody, for participating. Thank you so much.